In his recent address to the nation, President Putin outlined a roadmap for Russia's economic future that has left many people wondering what the implications are. Join us as we explore the potential impacts of this new plan and discuss how it could shape Russia and the whole world's economy in the years to come. We will look at how it could affect businesses, workers, and citizens alike, as well as analyze some of the potential risks and opportunities associated with this new strategy. A small curiosity that might be useful eventually to better understand as a whole Putin's message to the Russian Federal Assembly on February 21, 2023. While much of the media attention focused on Putin's statements on war and international politics, what went unnoticed was the fact that almost twice as much space was devoted to the economy. In fact, 37,000 out of 50,000 characters in his speech were about the economy. Putin begins his speech by stating that the West has launched not only a military and information war against Russia, but also an economic one. However, he proudly proclaims that the Russian economy and its model of governance have proven to be much more resilient than the West had hoped. The president then goes on to provide some impressive statistics to back up his claim, stating that despite the challenges faced by the Federation, the labor market is currently better than it was before the pandemic. The unemployment rate in Russia has dropped to a record low of 3.7%. The speech also covers Putin's plans for a return to a sort of autarky, total independence from the Western world. He emphasizes that what has allowed Russia to hold its own amidst the largest apparatus of economic sanctions in human history is the strengthening of ties with its most responsible and predictable partners. The Russian president promises new global markets, starting with the Asia-Pacific, which are gaining precedence. Putin also touches on the role that big global finance capital has assigned to Russia after the collapse of the Soviet Union, which he refers to as the Great Plunder. Have you ever wondered what happened after the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991? Over 12 million people died as a result of the economic and political turmoil that followed. What went wrong and how is Russia trying to fix it today? Russian President Vladimir Putin has been talking about this issue for years. He believes that the collapse of the Soviet Union was due to unsustainable problems and imbalances, and that the subsequent economic reforms were poorly implemented. According to Putin, the new Russian enterprises that emerged after the collapse of the Soviet Union were focused solely on generating as much profit as possible through the sale of natural resources like oil, gas, metals, and timber. This led to a widespread sense of resentment among ordinary Russians, who saw the new elites flaunting their lavish lifestyles, while many lost their jobs and struggled to make ends meet. Putin argues that over the years, Russia has invested substantial public resources in trying to reverse the process of deindustrialization that occurred in the 1990s. However, this effort has been hampered by endless conflicts within the Russian elite itself. From his point of view, this fails as a waste of time and believes that Russia needs to focus on modernizing its economy to remain competitive in a rapidly changing global landscape. This is where Putin's New Deal comes in. Like China, Russia seems will embrace a mixed economy model where the state dictates the rules, but also allows for free enterprise to operate. The other essential component of this model is infrastructure, with a massive plan to modernize railways, ports, telecommunication networks, roads, and highways. Putin believes that this investment in infrastructure will create the material conditions for private companies to operate in a more competitive ecosystem. With this, Russia hopes to expand its ties with Southeast Asian markets and open up new routes for trade cooperation with India, Iran, Pakistan, and Middle Eastern countries. He added also that Russia will continue to work with its most responsible and predictable partners to create a sustainable and secure system, independent from the dollar and other Western reserve currencies that are bound to lose their universal appeal. He referred in particular to the partners members of the BRICS organization. Moreover, the emergence of an enlarged BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, is seen as countries' way of hedging their bets in response to potential US aggression in matters of trade. Currently, the BRICS are a loose alignment of mainly economic and trade interests with no multilateral trade agreements between them. However, 13 other countries have expressed interests in joining the BRICS, including Algeria and Saudi Arabia. If these countries join, the BRICS will become an entity with a GDP 30% larger than that of the United States, over 50% of the global population, and control of 60% of global gas reserves. According to several financial observers, including Devonshire-Ellis, a well-known business consultant covering the Russian and Chinese markets, the West's disengagement with Russia is likely to continue for the next decade. However, the eventual lifting of sanctions barriers should lead to a more self-sufficient and connected Russia with a little dependence on the European Union or the United States. He believes that in some cases, Russia may even produce advanced technologies superior to those in the West, as many of the raw materials needed for these technologies are found in countries within Russia and China's orbits, not in Europe or the United States. Putin's recent speech provided a roadmap for how the country will achieve this goal. Devonshire-Ellis also argues that the US has overstepped its ability to impose tariffs and sanctions without reference to the World Trade Organization, causing concern among other countries. As a result, these countries are looking for alternative trade organizations and hedging trade and atomic bets against potential future US disputes. However, he believes that the US is more concerned about the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which specifically contains a security aspect, whereas the BRICS is primarily focused on trade. For Russia in particular, it's about modernizing its economy, investing in infrastructure and creating the conditions for private enterprise to thrive. Whether Putin's New Deal will succeed remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: the stakes are high, and the future of Russia depends on how it realizes these opportunities. Only time will tell, but it's clear that Putin is committed to creating a new economic model that will help Russia thrive even amidst significant challenges. For those who want to hear and understand Putin's entire speech, you can find it at this link. Turn on automatic subtitles to read the translation in your language.